Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, which I haven't posted on for a very long time, but it's probably because I've been working on this so much. This is my latest project which I've been working on, and I think it's a really exciting project which has taught me a lot, and it's brought together quite a few things. And how do I best describe it? Well, I think it is a generator with a remote start button on it, and that's about it really. So I want to talk about why I created it, but first of all I want to talk about what it does. So if I took my Honda GX generator and I put a key start on it, which you can do quite easily. There's kits available online. This one I think was from AliExpress at a fairly reasonable price. Hook it up to a battery, and then you've got yourself a remote start, well, a key start rather. But I wanted a remote start. I wanted to have a start button that was far away from the generator that I could just push and start the generator. So why did I want to do this? Well, this is primarily for my off-grid solar setup. Obviously, I live in Wales, and in the winter we struggle with solar power. So I wanted a generator, and I didn't want to have to come out and start the generator all the time. And so I wanted to get a remote start, at least a key start. But then I thought to myself, oh, well, I'll go a step further and I'll just have a remote button which I can put on the end of a Cat5 cable. So this is on the end of a fairly long, so I'm going to move all that rubbish out of the way. There's about at least 20 meters there of Cat5 cable, I think, or maybe a little bit less, but my intention is to put 20 meters of Cat5 cable. That then goes into this relay box that I've made, and I'll explain all that later. So at the moment I'm explaining really why did I want to create this. Now the trouble with this generator, or the trouble with generators of this size, and it's not a trouble, it's just a feature of them, is that most of them don't come with automatic chokes. So you do have to operate a choke lever somehow or other. So to do that I have bought this actuator and put various clamps on it and set it up to be able to move that choke back and forth. That was not an easy part of the project. In fact, it was probably one of the more difficult parts of the project to get that right. But I've got it right now and it works just fine. I don't know whether you saw in the beginning of in the intro sort of part of the video, that choke actuator actually operating. But the idea is that when you turn the start key, it does all of this thing via this control unit here, and I'll show you the inside of that. There's just relays basically in there and switches. That then moves the choke into the closed position, so it closes the choke, allows the engine to start. Then after about 3 seconds, which is set by the timer in this unit, it will move back into the position of it being open choke. I think one of the good features about this, the way I've set this up, is that you can operate the choke, or you can start the engine and it will automatically then operate the choke by either pressing the button here or by operating the key there. So that's one of the features I wanted when designing this. So the idea then is you start the engine, well, as you're starting the engine, choke closes, engine starts, choke opens. Now, to get that to actually happen is not really a trivial matter, and it's taken quite a lot of thinking about it logically, which has basically led to a lot more sort of controls than what you may expect. Now, this leads me on to the next thing I wanted to talk about is, could I have bought one of these online, off the shelf, or ready to go? The answer is both yes and no, so it's complicated. I have seen units which cost about £100, which will integrate with your ignition system, as we got here, and basically start your engine for you based on, you could have it as a timer, a switch, a voltage sensing relay, something like that. So if the voltage of your battery drops to a certain amount, then your engine will come on and then it will switch off once the voltage rises. And you could do exactly the same thing with here. I mean, I've just got a switch there, but this could be a timer, this could be a voltage sensitive relay, it could be anything, okay? But the trouble is with the one I saw online for £100, even though I do think they're a very good company, and I probably will buy from them in the future, is that they don't have anything for a manual choke. So I would say most of this unit here is designed primarily based around the operation of this choke. So I'm going to do it again, and hopefully I may have to shout over the camera, over the noise of it, but hopefully you might be able to see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to hold this down, and then what this yellow light shows is AC electricity being detected. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a bit. So I'm going to hold this button down. The choke should operate. Then after a few seconds, once the engine is stabilised, it should then move back into the closed position. So let's try it again. The choke gone back. Oh, hang on. I've left the stop button on. That's great. At least it works. There we are. Choke's moved back to the original position. Okay, let's try again. Choke is closed, and the choke's opened again, and the blue light's illuminated there. There's also a red light over there. Okay, press the stop button, and it's all off. So that's it, it's working great. Now I'm going to talk to you about a few little things which I've got written down here of other sort of complications that occurred while doing this. So I've talked about what it does. Have I said why? Well, this is for my off-grid solar system, because in the winter in Wales we don't really get enough sun to give us enough, well, I don't get enough sun with the size of my array to actually get me through the winter, and so I need a generator, and I wanted to have it at least as a key start, but what I wanted was more of an automated system, so when I'm not around, other people can come and just press that button there, wait until that light is on, the blue light on it, walk away from it, and be confident that they don't have to do much to get this thing started. Okay. Can you buy an off-the-shelf unit? Where we talked about that. I've said yes and no. I've talked about the choke. Now let's talk about what... Okay, so how does this unit know that how does it know when to put the choke back into the open position? Okay, so there's two ways I've done this, okay? One of them is I've said, well, if we have AC electricity, and there's the AC electricity cord there coming into here, alright, so there's both AC and DC electricity in this unit. If we detect AC electricity, move the choke back into the open position. Alright, so open the choke. That's one way of doing it. However, we may not want to do that, and actually what you find is sometimes if you don't need choke to operate the engine because it's warm, for instance, and you press that button and the choke then closes, what you find is the engine will never actually the engine will never start producing 240 volts. So what I wanted was another way which this engine can detect whether it's on. I'm going to pull that out there and still operate the choke. So now I've taken the AC electricity out, the AC output out. I'm going to operate it again. Now what's going to happen here is this is the way I've done it, and there's other ways of doing it, obviously. The way I've done it here is I've just said there's a series of timers. So from the time that I press the button, I think it gives about 10 seconds or something like that. And after 10 seconds, regardless if it detects AC or not, the choke will open. So I've taken the AC output out, and this time I'm going to operate it via the engine start key, just for fun, just a different way of doing it. So I'm going to hold that, and the choke should close, the engine should start, and it's not going to detect any AC, because obviously there's no AC to detect because I've just disconnected it. And after a certain amount of time, the choke then should move back into the open position. Okay, and I've turned it off. So there we are. So it operates both with detecting AC. So as soon as the AC is detected, the choke then opens, and also if there's no AC detected, you haven't connected it, or the engine's labouring for whatever reason, then after a certain amount of time the choke will automatically then open and the engine should operate as normal. So because of all of that, we left with what was probably could have been 1 or 2 relays. Now we're left with quite a few. Okay, so there's another thing on here, this timer here. This is the main timer. So I've set this engine to run for an hour, and after an hour it will then turn itself off. There's some other relays here that act as latching relays. And I'll explain something which occurred. Because these engines have got inertia, obviously, when they run in, one of the relays in there is designed simply just to hold, to simulate just holding that stop button down. As you can see, this stop button, when you click it down, it doesn't come back up. And I'll show you what happens if you don't have this type of button. Right, so let's start this engine again. Now press the stop button and I'll release it again. I'll press the stop button and I'll release it again. See, the engine just restarts itself. It's got momentum. So you've got to have a stop button that latches in, and one of the relays in here, so let me say that again without the engine being on. You have to have a button which latches, because otherwise if you just dab the stop button, which would be the equivalent of me just turning this key on and off quickly, then the engine will just restart itself. And so that's what that one of the relays does in there, one of those timers in there. It holds the stop button down for, I think it's 10 seconds or something like that. But you can change all of that, doesn't matter. Okay, so what else is on my list of things? So I've talked about detecting AC as a means of determining whether this engine is on or not. Are there other ways of doing it? Yeah. I'm working on a Hall effect sensor that maybe I can integrate into the generator. So when it detects a magnet spinning, then it can then it basically says that the engine is on. Stop button issues. I've talked about stop button issues. I think that's it for now. What else do I want to talk about here? Oh yeah, can all of this be condensed down into something a bit smaller? Yes. That might require some PLC programming. Well, it will definitely. So I'm working on condensing all of this down into an Arduino sort of size unit. As you can see, as you've probably seen from videos on my other channel, I know how to use an Arduino. Am I anywhere near expert level? No. Am I like novice level? Probably. So getting all of this down to an Arduino, into some Arduino code, is going to take a while for me. But I'll do it. I'll get it done eventually. Well, I say that. I put it out online now, haven't I? So if I say I'm going to do it, I should probably try and do it. There we go. We'll see in like 5 years' time if I still haven't done it. So there's my project. So this is ready to go into action now. Once it's in action, I shall then update this video and show it to you in situ. So just to recap, what do I actually want it for? Well, I want this to be a remote start. I want lots of people to be able to just come along, press a button, or turn a key, and the light to come on the box, or on that box there, and them to be happy that, 100 meters away, maybe not 100 meters, 30 meters away, this generator is on and producing electricity, running through my inverter, charging my batteries. Then after an hour, it just automatically turns off on its own with a timer. So that's that. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Well, yeah, I suppose there is another thing. And this is obviously a very complicated box here, and you probably all expected me to tell you exactly how I wired this up. And I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do that, because, this is obviously it's taken me a long time, and like I say, you know, these aren't cheap units to buy online. This is quite a bespoke unit. So how I'm going to distribute this information to you if you want it is, I don't know yet. Maybe Patreon or something like that, so I can try and I like to be open and honest with people. I don't know yet whether I want to give this away as a free product or not. Well, at least the plans anyway. So yeah, I guess I'll figure that out. I'd like to get something back for it. So I guess just let me know. What if you? Maybe it's not useful to anybody else. Maybe this is purely just something that's useful to me, and everybody else is quite happy to just go out and just buy a Victron something or other. The other thing as well, I like to say, sorry, I'm rambling a bit now, but if you do have a generator with with a manual choke on it, even if you use like a Turbo GX or something like that, Victron, you'd still need to have a way of having it operate the choke. And I don't think Victron has that kind of system. And like I say, I haven't found a system like this anywhere. If I do find a system like this anywhere, I'll just let you know about it and just put you, give you the details of it. So even if you get a Turbo GX to start your generator, if you don't have an automatic choke, then it would be difficult. Alright, I think that's all I'm going to say about that for now. Sorry, just to finish up on that thought about the automatic choke, would it be easier just to buy a small engine with an automatic choke rather than spending money on doing this? Because this box has cost me like over £100 in components. I haven't fully checked how much it's cost, but I know it's over £100. Those relays are like 13 quid each. So, right. Well, I haven't been able to find a small, reliable Honda engine with an automatic choke on it. So, if anybody's got any idea about how or where you can get a small engine like this, or slightly bigger, I don't mind, with an automatic choke on it, then that might save, well, it would save a heck of a lot of wiring and a heck of a lot of control systems. So let me know. If there's one out there, it might be cheaper to just invest in an engine with an automatic choke rather than doing all of this stuff. Alright, now that is really the end of it.